Wall Street ends mixed with the S&P 500 notching a record close. The Dow underperformed to end 0.25% lower. Asia is mixed in early trade. The Supreme Court will continue hearing the AGR case. Jio's counsel Harish Salve tells the Apex Court that Jio has paid the relevant SUC and AGR dues arising from shared spectrum. Also says it would be premature for the court to decide whether spectrum can be sold under the IBC, as there is no well-crystallized policy on the issue. The court observes that it cannot allow technicalities to come in the way given its amounts involved. The Union Cabinet is scheduled to meet today to discuss some crucial issues. Hike in FDI limit in defense industry to 74% via the automatic rule, and corporatization of Ordnance Factory Board is expected to be on the agenda. The Cabinet may also consider the next round of airport privatization. Reliance Retail acquires majority stake in leading digital online pharmacy platform NetMeds for a cash consideration of approximately 620 crore rupees. Director of Reliance Retail, Isha Ambani, says that the investment will enhance the availability of high-quality, affordable healthcare products and services across the country. Hi guys, good morning and welcome to Power Breakfast in the Mumbai News Center. I'm Pavitra Parekh, and those were all of the top stories that we're tracking this morning. We will get to all of those individual stories in just a bit, but first up, let me take you through how the Asian markets are faring today. It's been quite a mixed start for Asia, mostly higher following that mixed close that we saw on Wall Street. So Shanghai, you can see, is a little bit lower, around 25 points in the red. Hang Seng and Nikkei managed to trade in the green, but they were looking quite flat right now. If I can also get Straits, Taiwan and Kospi up for you, they are in the green, but we're not seeing any major gains there. Kospi and Taiwan still managing to trade about 0.5% higher. Let's also take a look at the SGX Nifty now, so we can take a look at how our own markets are likely to open this morning. So that should also come up for you. And if my director can just pull up the SGX Nifty, I can take you through how that's looking. So it's again looking like quite a flat start for our own markets. So we will keep an eye out on all of that. But let's also take a look at how the US fared. Now in the overnight session, we saw quite a mixed close for US. You can see the Dow is in the red, but the S&P did finally manage to cross that record and actually gained all of the losses that we saw during the coronavirus period. So we now have CNBC's Kate Rooney to get us a wrap of everything that transpired on Wall Street.
U.S. stocks finishing the day mixed. The Dow off 66 points, the S&P up 7, closing at a new record, and the NASDAQ adding 81. Shares of Walmart briefly touching a 52-week high after posting stronger than expected earnings in the company's second quarter. The company saw comp store sales jump better than 9%. Wall Street was only calling for a 5% beat. Online sales, a big part of that surprise, nearly doubling for the quarter, though the stock finished lower on the session. A similar story for Home Depot, the home improvement giant easily beating on the top and bottom line, with sales jumping almost 24% in the second quarter. That was more than twice what analysts were expecting. The company credits that to a big jump in home improvement from people forced to stay home during the quarantine. That stock also finishing in the red, though. And watch out, Microsoft. There is a new player in the talks to buy TikTok. A source telling CNBC that Oracle is looking to buy parts of the Chinese video sharing company. The Trump administration has threatened to ban the app in the U.S. if ByteDance, the Chinese company that owns the service, doesn't sell off its U.S. operations by November, citing security concerns. Until now, Microsoft was widely seen as TikTok's most likely buyer. That's the action from the U.S. market. Back to you in Mumbai.
Kate, thanks a lot for taking us through all of those details from the U.S. markets. But even as the stalemate over the coronavirus bill continues, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin criticized Democrats, saying that they are unwilling to strike a reasonable relief deal. Listen in.
The good news is we're moving forward. The president's EO on unemployment. We now have many states that are moving through that process. We have, looks like, 5 states that have already been approved. We have another 4 states that have submitted, and about another 10 states that are in the process. So the good news is, despite Congress not acting, because Pelosi and Schumer aren't willing to sit down and strike a reasonable deal, the president moved forward with the EO to help people who are still unemployed.
All right, so that was all of the global market action, but how will the overnight cues impact our own markets? For that, we have our entire research team joining in with how the trade setup looks like this morning. Sonia, let me come to you first. Take us through the market cues that we should be watching out for.
Well, thanks a lot for that, Pavitra. So as we know, the bulls are in absolute control of this market, right? The Nifty closed at a 4-month high yesterday. There was massive buying that came through from foreign investors. So FIIs bought 1,135 crores in the cash markets yesterday. Across the board, there was big buying seen in names like Reliance, 600 crores delivery buying there, 500 crores delivery buying in ICICI Bank, in HDFC, and domestic institutions sold about 379 crores. Now, one of the reasons for the rally is this big unlock theme that's playing out, where a lot of industries are coming back into action as the COVID cases reduce. So the latest update is here. The active COVID cases in India have dropped by over 3,700 in the last 24 hours. So it is pretty encouraging. It's the sharpest single-day decline that we've seen on record in COVID cases. And the overall cases have risen by a 6-day low of 55,000. So this unlock trade is something that perhaps could continue. You're seeing it play out in aviation, in commercial vehicles, in cement. In fact, yesterday, Ashok Leyland saw about 200 crores of delivery buying. Global Qs have also been quite stable, as you were just referring earlier. The S&P 500 closed at a record high, and there is an unlock theme playing out in the US as well. The data over there is quite encouraging. The US home building data for the month of July accelerated to the highest in 4 years. So that as well has boosted sentiment. Across the board, good cues coming in. The US dollar index has also slipped below that 92 mark. So that's another important internal to track, which could give some more ammunition to the bulls. The SGX Nifty for now indicating that the start will be in the green. Back to you.
All right, Sonia, thanks a lot for that. Let's also talk about some of the stocks that are likely to be in the news today. And we have Agam standing by with that list. Agam, what's on your radar this morning?
Morning, Pavitra. Right at the top, we have earnings in HAL. It's been a muted quarter considering just a 0.8% growth in its top line, and its profit has declined around 1%. Moving on to Dilip Bilkon, it's received a letter of acceptance for a project worth 1,335 crores, and this is from Rail Vikas Nigam for a project in Uttarakhand. We move on to Oil India, and it has disclosed that it has lost around 30,000 metric tons of crude oil and 71 metric cubic meters of natural gas in a blowout. So we could perhaps expect a negative reaction there. Indiabulls Real Estate is also in focus as it's approved a merger of NAM Estates and Embassy One commercial property with itself in a cashless composite amalgamation. Heidelberg Cement, which will hold a AGM next month, will consider taking up a loan of 150 crores to sister concern Zuari Cement, and the loan will be for 2 years with an interest of 7%. So an interesting development there. SML Isuzu, where ICRA has revised its long-term ratings upwards to around ICRA A plus from ICRA A negative. And finally, we have Dixon Technologies, which in a board meeting on the 21st of August, well, will consider raising funds through convertible debentures and foreign currency convertible bonds.
All right, Agam, thanks a lot for that. We will keep an eye out on that entire list of stocks that Agam just took us through. Finally, we have Nigel also joining in to take us through all of the cues from the F&O space. Hi, Nigel. Good morning.
Well, morning, Pavitra. We had a good trading session yesterday, and the FIs, they showed us the money. Yesterday, they pumped in more than 1,000 crores, offset the DI selling, and that was great news. That was the prime reason why, in fact, the markets moved up in trade yesterday. Let's tell you about the F&O markets and what the FIs are doing out there. They're net long on the index. They have close to around 65% of their positions on the long side. Now, we know that that's holding at around that 65% odd mark. But in yesterday's trade, they said if things go wrong, let's buy some puts. So they bought puts in the ratio of around 10:1. So 10 puts for every one call that they bought. Close to 4,000 put contracts. So that's good. You know, you have cushion on the downside if things go wrong. But the big factor is they're written more puts than calls. And they've written close to around 3 puts for every 2 calls. That's the overall setup in terms of the writing space on the index options. Now, in yesterday's trading session, yes, the Nifty hit a century. And when the Nifty hits a century, you like to see writing at the nearest possible strike. That's precisely what happened. The 11,300 put, the 11,400 put, both of them added nearly around 30 lakh shares between them. And I'll read that very, very positively. And now it seems the bears are getting a little bit fearful because yesterday there was unwinding on calls that were written. The 11,300 call, the 11,350 call, both of them did see some unwinding. So this market is clearly buy on dips. Yes, we could get a bit of a dip, but it seems the trend is higher. What are the levels you're looking at then? The 11,400 call has the highest open interest. The premium out there is around 50 rupees. So that's telling you the bears will try to put in a fight at around the 11,450 to around 11,500 odd mark. But otherwise, you know, the support comes deep at around the 20 DMA. That's closer towards the 11,200 mark. keep an eye out on a few stocks today. Ashok Leyland, you have Glenmark and Bata coming out of the ban. So those stocks should be on your radar. Back to you.
All right, Nigel, thanks a lot for that. Those are all of the cues that we should watch out for our own markets. But shifting focus now, Reliance Retail has acquired majority stake in leading digital online pharmacy platform NetMeds. Rima joins in with more on that. Hi, Rima.
Hi, good morning. Yes, so they have acquired a majority stake in NetMeds for a cash consideration of 620 crores. So what exactly is NetMeds? Well, it connects your customers to pharmacy and it enables door-to-door delivery of a lot of medicines as well as wellness products. So currently they're connecting more than 5.7 million customers in 670 cities. What does this do to Reliance Retail? This acquisition will be housed under Reliance Retail. Well, it broadens their digital commerce platform. Remember, even in the AGM, they had talked about entering into electronics, into lifestyle products, as well as pharmacy. So this ties into that. And plus, they have an ambition to provide all the daily essential products. So pharmacy fits right there. And it also takes up its competition with Amazon one notch high. If you remember, just 2 days ago, Amazon launched online, pharmacy or e-pharmacy in Bengaluru, and they promised and they have said that they plan to make it a expand it to all the cities in India. So I guess e-pharmacy is going to be a hotly contested battle, at least when it comes to e-commerce giants. Also, now you need to keep your eye out on Reliance Retail and potential acquisitions, because this was in the market for some time now. Buzz about Reliance Retail acquiring NetMeds, and it's not just that. There were rumors about the company looking at acquiring Urban Ladder as well as Zivame. Now that they plan to scale up Reliance Retail, are we going to see more acquisitions from them? Is something the street is going to be gunning their eyes on. Back to you. And of course, the standard disclaimer about Reliance Industries: it owns the channel and the network that you're watching. Back to you.
All right, Rima, thanks a lot for running us through all of those details. That will be an important stock for us to keep an eye out on today. With that, let's get into a short break here. The Union Cabinet is scheduled to meet today to discuss some crucial issues. We tell you what's likely to be on the agenda after this short break.